So today's guest is Mr. Michael Smyth, coming live via Skype from Victoria, who wrote a fascinating column today about Twitter slime. So apparently NDP MLA Routley slammed for plot to slime Greens Weaver. This sounds like you're a kettle of fish there. What do you think about this? Tell us what you think, Mr. Mike.
Well, Ian, this shows that when you're using that Twitter thing, you're on Twitter, right?
Oh, yeah.
I follow you on, everybody should follow you on Twitter. I follow you on Twitter.
I follow you too.
When you're on Twitter, when you press that send button, if you're going to send a private message, make sure you're sending a private message, because if you press the wrong button, it can go out to all your public Twitter followers, because that's what happened to that. Remember that Congressman Anthony Weiner?
Oh, yeah.
He's the guy who sent that picture of his bulge to that woman in Seattle, as I recall.
His bulge,
and he thought
I've
it was
called
private,
yeah.
But he sent it out to all his Twitter followers, and that was the beginning of Wienergate and, and his downfall.
Nice.
Well, the same thing essentially happened to this guy, Doug Routley, an NDP MLA. He thought he was sending a private message to the NDP chief of staff, but he messed up and he sent the Twitter message out to all his public followers. And what it says in these messages, Ian, is what appears to be like a plan or a plot to throw online mud at Andrew Weaver, the only Green MLA in the legislature. And it talks about, let's plant, as he put it, plant information with one of his supporters, who will then go out and basically throw mud at their enemies, including Andrew Weaver. So, you know, it's an interesting glimpse, because this guy pressed the wrong button on Twitter. It's an interesting insight into how the bare knuckle, you know, kind of online slime of BC politics, how it gets done.
Well, I think sometimes we think this is just spontaneous, and somebody, you know, they just were full of, you know, sudden brilliance or whatever. This sort of indicates this is widespread. People are doing it all the time. They go on social media. They think they're happening. Look at me, I've got this. And engage brain before hitting send, I believe, is the message here.
Well, I talked to all the principals involved in this story yesterday, Ian, and they all say, well, come on, you know, what's the big deal? Doug Routley told me it's not unusual for us to give information to our supporters so they can back us up online. I talked to this fellow named Peter, the guy they were planting the information with, and he said, look, they don't tell me what to do. I say whatever I want on Twitter. But, you know, here's the interesting thing, Ian. This guy, Doug Routley, the NDP MLA, he has 454 Twitter followers. So he's not exactly Justin Bieber on Twitter. And this guy that they were planting the information with in order to slime Andrew Weaver, he's got 839 Twitter followers. So he ain't exactly Lady Gaga.
So this is essentially Twitter amateur hour. People that don't know which button
exactly. It's kind of, and another interesting thing about this is you look at this and you go, really, is this how you guys spend your time as an MLA? You guys are plotting these little Twitter campaigns and mudslinging on social media with guys who have got a few hundred Twitter followers. Like, really, like, why don't you guys do your job? Like, why don't you go and help your constituents? Go help someone in your riding who needs some help with the government instead of this kind of stuff. But like you said, it probably happens all the time. We're just seeing a little insight into it.